In this video, we're going to look at Ivica Zubac's perfect night against the Dallas Mavericks. Arguably, the most valuable skill that Ivica Zubac has is this, his screens. He washes out Tim Hardaway Jr. here. Paul George gets downhill towards Boban Marjanovic. Zubac face cuts against Luka Doncic, receives the pass, holds it up high, never brings it down, which is key, and slams it home. The theme of this season has been the chemistry in both pick and roll settings and just general screen settings that Kawhi Leonard and Ivica Zubac have together for the Clippers. Here, Zubac screens to free up Kawhi Leonard at the top of the arc, and then you're going to see him come back over and re-screen on the other side. This is going to allow Leonard to drive downhill towards drop coverage, and as Leonard passes, the pass is handled very well by Zubac down low. He finishes through the contact deftly with his left hand. Because of the screen game and how well Leonard and Zubac work it, you see things like this. Zubac screens Finney Smith. It forces Dallas into a switch. Zubac rolls, and that switch takes place as Finney Smith is on Zubac down low. Kawhi takes Boban out to the perimeter. He's going to get a great look from the mid-range, but as we see, Zubac is using his strength to establish position here. And as the rebound comes off, Zubac extends his arm and beats everyone to it. This second shot opportunity is a good one. Landry Shamet has an open three and he misses, but Zubac's hustle is noticed. This is an instance of how much screens matter. Zubac screens for Paul George. It's a wide open three-point look for Paul George. This is a shot you'll take every day if you're the Clippers. Establishing good offensive rebounding position is key to actually getting them, and here, as we see, Zubac is down low as the shot goes up from Shamet, and he gets his body into the larger Marjanovic, but he establishes position, and in doing so, he's able to tip the ball up and away from Marjanovic, and then fight like hell on the glass to retrieve the ball. This allows the Clippers to get a second shot, and it's a Marcus Morris 3. He gets fouled. Second and third shots are ultimately important. Being so good in the screen game, we see here Zubac screens, which allows Paul George to get downhill, but watch Zubac's hustle. He's running hard to the rim, and as the shot goes up, he establishes position on the offensive glass, he reaches up, slams it home. Hustling is another thing Zubac has gotten better at, and we're seeing it in the bubble every game. Here, he presents himself to Shamet that he's running down the floor hard, and to reward him, he then gets fouled, leading to free throws. Hustle is a big deal. Zubac is so skilled for his size, and it kind of goes unnoticed and underappreciated because of all the little things he does. Here, he screens against Maxi Kleber, and it almost looks like a hug. That's how good the screen is. When he rolls, though, notice how he gets a deep seal on Kleber to present himself as an option in the passing lane. And he shot fakes, which gets Kleber to actually bite on it. And Zubac turns back with his left hook. It's a good, solid look, and he buries it. Kawhi Leonard is the main beneficiary of Ivica Zubac's screens. We're going to see that here. Zubac's screens are so good, they help Kawhi get open shots. He screens against Maxi Kleber, and as Kawhi comes down off of it, he gets an open three-point look as Porzingis is late to help, and he knocks it down. Zubac has gotten better in the roll department, and I guess you can credit Montrezl Harrell for that over the last year or two. Here, Zubac screens for Paul George right at the top of the arc, and as George comes down against it, Porzingis is going to overhelp, and Zubac presents himself in the passing lane. George makes a great pass over the top. Zubac finishes with the right hand. Watch how fast the side out of bounds play develops. Zubac screens for Paul George coming up, and then immediately hard rolls because George drives. Zubac gathers, plants hard with his right foot. He's going to slam it home. Fantastic. This is going to be a long play, but it's going to tell you a lot about the intelligence and the hustle of Ivica Zubac. This ball is going to go to Marcus Morris in the corner, and Zubac is going to come over to set a screen, but he's going to slip it. As Morris comes off of this, he's going to shot fake against Luka Doncic. This gets Doncic up in the air, and Morris is actually going to pass it back out to Paul George. As the shot clock winds down, George knows he has to go, and he does. Because of George's drive, Zubac is able to establish position inside on the offensive glass, and he tips it. He ends up getting the offensive rebound because of this, and he kicks it out to Landry Shamet, who knocks down the three. This is a huge thing. Guard ball screens are something the Clippers do at an extremely high level, and it allows them to get unique looks because of it. Here, Lou Williams screens for Paul George, and you're going to see a switch happen because it's right after that Zubac barrels down into Finney Smith to force it. This actually leads to Maxi Kleber defending Paul George on the perimeter, and Zubac is against a smaller man down low. George goes to work, but he isn't able to draw the foul. However, Zubac has established good position down low, and George is going to hit him with a pass. Zubac catches, turns, and dunks. Like I've mentioned before, screens are probably Zubac's best asset as a big. And he screens for Lou Williams right here. This screen is so good, and Lou Williams is going left, and he gets a great look from three. He doesn't knock it down, but these are looks you want. Screen handoffs, screen game, whatever you want to call it. Zubac really is a master at this. Screen handoff with Kawhi Leonard, Leonard going downhill. Zubac rolls hard and establishes position. He's the first one there at the rim as Leonard goes up for the shot. The shot comes off, and look at the position Zubac had. It's perfect. Zubac gets the ball before anyone else. He goes up strong between defenders, and he lays it up and in for a basket. While Zubac was a perfect 10 of 10 on the offensive end, his defense was also good for the most part. Here, as the screen comes for Doncic, Zubac is in what we call drop coverage. As Doncic drives, Zubac establishes himself as the bigger man to force Doncic away from the rim, and he forces Doncic to pass. This pass is a turnover. This really is a good defensive game from Zubac when he was able to defend the rim. Screen comes, Zubac is in drop coverage again. He's going to help Paul George turn Doncic away from the hoop and force Doncic to pass back to the middle. He retreats back to Marjanovic, doesn't fully fall for the pump fake, and as Marjanovic goes to drive, he helps force Marjanovic into a tough shot fading away from the rim and caps it by getting the defensive rebound. This was an interesting wrinkle that the Clippers did throughout the game. They want to keep Zubac closer to the rim, but when Marjanovic flares out to the corner, Zubac has to communicate with Kawhi Leonard, hey, we need to switch. I can take Porzingis, you go to the corner, and they do. Porzingis faces up, and when the shot goes up, Zubac has defended it very well and helps force a miss. Zubac's awareness was off the charts. Here, Lou Williams is late to help, but Zubac notices Doncic is driving, and he's like, I got this. He gets over, presents himself with verticality, forces the Doncic pass, and it's another turnover. Another high screen. Zubac once again in drop coverage, Doncic coming right down. Zubac forces him to the baseline, stays vertical with his defense, and forces a Doncic miss, and even draws a frustration foul. This was the epitome of hustle, defense, offense, everything rolled into one. Zubac is helping down on Porzingis, and because of that, Shamet jumps out to the wing. Well, Zubac has to get to the corner shooter, and he does well enough to help force a miss. This miss ignites a break for the Clippers, but watch Zubac here at the top of the screen. He is hustling his tail off, and he even raises his hands up for Kawhi Leonard to see him like, I am a target, you can hit me, reward me, and Leonard does. Zubac shot fakes to see what the defender does, nothing, lays it up and in. Here, Zubac is once again in drop coverage as the screen happens, and he's going to be defending against Luka Doncic. As Doncic drives, Zubac squares up and he's helping to deter him from the rim. But Doncic does a smart thing. He sweeps the arm away, which could be an offensive foul, and he lays it up and in, but this is still great defense. This is another instance of the Clippers switching the action to help Zubac stay closer to the rim. As we're going to see, the ball gets worked around, and here, Kawhi Leonard gets switched on to Porzingis, but look at Zubac. He's pointing to Kawhi Leonard. Go to the corner, I got this. And as Porzingis gets the ball, Zubac does a solid job of keeping his body into him. But as Porzingis gets around him, Zubac contests this well and forces a tough shot. Porzingis makes it, but you still like this. Just watch Zubac's feet on this entire play. Watch the short, choppy steps. Porzingis faces up with him, and as Porzingis begins to go, look at Zubac move his feet. Boom, boom, boom. Hard plant with the left foot. He's going to short hop back into the play, contest it beautifully, and help force a miss. This is fantastic. This final play begins with Patrick Patterson pointing to Zubac to take Porzingis. That's exactly what Zubac does here. Porzingis is going to shot fake, and Zubac kind of bites on this, but watch the way he rotates his hips, plants hard with his left leg, and then he ends up with the short choppy steps again to get his body into Porzingis, and he ends up blocking him right at the rim. Zubac had an absolutely incredible night.